Hello everyone, Mav Hunter here from the YouTube channel Mav's Outdoor Adventures. This video was filmed in December of 2020 on an Arizona over-the-counter archery deer hunt. This hunt took place on public land, both desert washes and some adjacent federal lands, which were once leased to a farmer where they grew alfalfa. The fields had gone wild the last 3 years, but upon my arrival in early December, I found the fields had been cut. But the mule deer were still using the fields, nibbling on what wild alfalfa they could find. So, I hope you enjoy. I'm going out for the evening hunt. Got about an hour of daylight. And here, usually the first hour and the last hour is the best hunting and not much else in between. In my pre-scouting earlier that morning, I hiked into several cut alfalfa fields only to find several groups of does and fawns, over 40 deer total, grazing the cut fields. Being late December, I knew that if I could find a group of does, sooner or later a nice buck or two might join them at some point, whether it's the morning or the afternoon. So with that, I put together a strategy of hunting these field edges, hoping for a mature buck. The overgrown old alfalfa fields have been pretty much cut and cleared away. So I don't know how the hunting's going to be the next couple days with those fields being cut. But I checked most of the usual trails, and the trails are being used with good deer sign. So we'll see. More later. As I make my way along the field edge toward my natural stand, I jump a few hundred quail. You can see them taking off over the trees here, the quail. I come around the corner. I'm about 1.5 miles from the truck now and heading down to this corner of the field where earlier I set up a natural blind next to a downed tree and brushed it in with some of the tall yellow grass. And here you can see I'm in my stand. And there's several deer about 400 to 500 yards away. I can see through the binoculars that 2 are very nice bucks. So I start calling in the deer with a couple buck grunts to see if I can get one of those bucks to head my way. Responds to my grunt calls. He starts coming across the field, headed down my way. I quickly hit the rangefinder on a brush rock in the distance on the edge of the field here, and I came up with 67 yards. And here you can see the buck is moving indeed toward that corner of the field, but he's still couple 100 yards out, but at least he's coming my way. I just have to be patient. With an arrow nocked and my release hooked onto the loop on my arch bowstring, battling a case of buck fever, my knees were shaking so bad and my hands were shaking so bad I had to tell myself over and over to breathe, that I've done this over 40 times now on bucks bigger than this one. So by breathing and slowing down my breathing, I was able to calm myself down and get ready if a shot decided to present itself. The buck is steadily making his way over across from my position, where earlier there was a little 3-point buck standing here and he was grunting away. But the 3-point buck had winded me and turned around and went back in the brush. And this big 4-point is going right to that spot where the 3-point buck had stood. So I'm thinking maybe my grunts, that this big buck thought the grunts was that 3-point that came back, and he's coming over here looking for a fight. I'm going to zoom in here, and you'll see currently he's at 67 yards. He comes into 62 yards, and he stops and looks at me, and you can see his white face looking my way as I drew my bow and released the arrow. The buck turns and runs back toward the other deer in the field. Could see my arrow drop out the other side of the buck after about 10 yards. Or in the field, the buck starts to do a death spiral, and then he goes down for the count. Thank you for watching. If you'd like this video, please click the thumbs up icon. If you'd like to stay tuned for new video releases, please click the red subscribe button.